Hey everyone, hope you are doing well on this Monday evening. And so again, we are having issues with Facebook, so we are doing a Zoom call so you guys can listen to our interview that we have arranged with Janis Ashkin, and she is with me this evening. So hi Janis, how are you?
I am great, Michelle. How are you?
Good, and thank you so much for being with me this evening to do this interview, because I'm enjoying interviewing people who are helping on people on on their wellness journey. So if we could get to hear who you are and where you're from, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. So I'm Janis Ashkin, as you said, and I am a career counselor and a health coach. And I feel strongly about helping people be successful in all aspects of their life. I was born in Buffalo, New York, and pretty early on, I decided I needed to live in the South. Far too cold for me up there. So I've lived in a lot of places in the South, but for, quite some time now in Atlanta.
Awesome, awesome. So what kind of made you decide to kind of go on the wellness path? Because you said that you do nutrition and a, kind of, I'll say, a wellness coach, and also you do the career coaching. So what kind
Absolutely.
of made you decide to go that route?
Well, so I was doing one of the things that career counselors talk to people about all the time is I was attending a networking event,
Hmm.
and I'm one of those odd individuals that actually enjoys networking events. I like meeting new people, and I like hearing all kinds of things about what people are doing, because today it seems like there are so many more interesting careers.
Yes.
And I met a health coach, and she was delightful, and we just hit it off, and she was with a program at the time was called Take Shape for Life. It is now called Optavia. And I was ready. So I was ready, and I started a journey on my health path, which is
Oh, wow.
just to reach optimal health. And so I was carrying some weight that I wasn't too happy about. And so I was able to lose 21 pounds
Nice.
doing that program. Really easy, really flexible. And then what I decided to do, like many people who are successful on our program, is to then become a health coach myself. So what I did is I just added that component to my career consulting business. So it's
Nice.
like a perfect match, because I'm also one of those people that feels very strongly about the combination. I don't really view a career as being very separate from the health journey,
Right.
because I think they are so related. If
Awesome.
if you're going to present yourself to the world, whether it is trying to move along in your current career, trying to change careers, going on interviews, you've got to look your best, you have to feel your best. And I think, it's extremely important the kind of image you convey. And so I just, what happened in this, it's not just about losing weight.
Hmm.
It's about being your best healthy self. So you learn about healthy habits, you learn about things, not just diet, but of course, exercise
Hmm.
and taking care of yourself, and so they're called the habits of health. And it is really about adapting a healthy lifestyle. So, that career is a part of that. They're not separate. Sadly, as a career counselor, I've seen far too many people, I think, who are not happy in their careers. But I think people often don't even know they have a choice. And they
Right.
do have a choice. You don't have to subscribe to just being miserable. And
Mm.
so I think people can get started, and you and I are great examples of people who have made a stand,
Yeah.
right? And have said, these are important things to me, and it's how we live our life.
Yeah.
And so I really believe strongly, as cliche as it sounds, in sort of walking the walk, talking the talk. And so I live a healthy lifestyle, and I want to help others to be able to do that.
That's awesome. And that's so true with, what you just said about, the healthy mind, healthy body, and you need that if you're going to change careers and everything like that. And I totally, totally agree with everything that you've kind of said. Um,
You need to have the energy right? You need to have the energy just to get through your day. You need to have the stamina to work on whatever sort of project comes along, or if it's a job search, that is certainly not for the faint of heart, these days. And, same thing with getting prepared for interviews. Yeah. I have started focusing really strongly on interview coaching. I mean, that's a big piece of my practice.
Oh, great.
Because interviews are so challenging today. Not impossible, certainly people can do it, but they require so much preparation today. Mm-hmm. And, I had someone share with me, because of course, as a career counselor, people share with me all sorts of, their career challenges and their friends, their family situations. And recently, a colleague of mine shared with me that he knows somebody who just had to go through 6 interviews for a job. And when you're in the middle of that, if you want to remain a viable candidate, you can't really say, I'll pass, or I'm not doing that.
Right.
You can always drop out, but of course we never encourage people to give up. But I think it requires some serious stamina. You've got to be competitive. It's so competitive today. But, people who are bright, educated, capable can be just as competitive as the next candidate, certainly.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's crazy, but you're right. I mean, the interview process seems to have changed from when I first went into the interview kind of mix when I was, back in the UK, but now it's a different kind of beast.
Yes.
And so just kind of tell us a little bit of information about what you do for the career coaching, because I know people are probably thinking, well, why is she talking to this career coach? But I have to kind of say that the occupational wellness that my business is kind of revolve around the 6 components of wellness, the occupational side, your job is very important for you to be balanced in your wellness, because, as you said, I mean, I was a teacher and I had to get out of teaching because I was just not happy. I did not enjoy getting up for work.
Right.
I loved my colleagues and everything, and we had a great time. I just was not motivated, and you have to be motivated in your job. And I'm motivated in my job now.
Right.
Doing the things that I'm doing with the travel and getting people to understand this. So if you could kind of give it, as I said, give a little bit of information about what you do on the career.
Sure.
That'd be awesome, please.
Sure. So I help people work through, resume writing, interview preparation. I certainly help people who are on a job search. Now, sometimes it's someone who's experiencing what you just described, that they're just miserable. And sadly, I think people wait until they're miserable to try to do something about it. Now, sometimes it is really out of hope, quite frankly, is that people are hopeful that it will get better. But today it's not unusual for someone to be underemployed. And so that's very frustrating. And so I take people through, like I said, resume writing, interview skills. I give people career assessments if they're trying to think about what else they might do. Right. So they may want to make a change. They may be, as I said, underemployed. They may have lost a job. And it's not even unusual today that somebody might have finished a career and now be thinking about getting into a second or third career. Wow. So, kind of the basics around job search, resume writing, interview skills. The career assessments are quite fun, really quite interesting to help people just stop and take a moment and think about what to do. Think about where their strengths lie. Because I think when people are miserable, they're so ready to just give up and want to do something different, but may not know what that is.
Totally.
I feel really strongly, of course, about encouraging people to not go it alone. It's very lonely out there as a job seeker. And then also, I think people are misled by just applying online. And that's not really a successful strategy. But what I'm seeing is I work with people who are applying to, every job position that moves essentially online, and yet reporting no success. So, it's kind of equivalent to hitting your head against the wall. And so I think, which I do not recommend, of course. But I think it is about having a strategy, and this would be, whether we're talking about nutrition, whether we're talking about fitness, right? It would be about working with trained professionals, and it would be about thinking about a short-term, medium-term, as well as a long-term plan, not just jumping in without a plan. It reminds me of just sort of throwing darts at a dartboard. You just really, again, not something I would recommend. Right. Have to talk to people. You have to do a lot of research. And while it can sound overwhelming, I think if someone is coaching you along and is on your side and is giving you information about what are the right things to do based on what has worked before. So, there is something that applies to both my health coaching piece and my career counseling piece, because I'm happy to report I've worked with people for years around, how to be successful at this process rather than struggle, rather than just keep feeling frustrated.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because remember I said to you when I first met you, I was like, where were you when I needed to find a career counselor, go back to school? I was thinking, I want one of those career counselors that I can go back to school and I can sit and think about what I want to do when I kind of leave my teaching job. And it's just amazing that, and I'll say it, that you can't find them. Or we can't find you. You guys are hidden, and I don't know why you're hidden, because some people need you.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that I found you, and I'm glad that I'm going to be posting this video so everyone can see that you exist. There are career counselors out there coaching to help you, but I was struggling, and you were so right about going alone, because I felt like I was alone. I was like, what am I going to do? I have all these skills as a teacher, and
absolutely,
how can I transfer them into another job? And I was applying online for all these jobs and hearing nothing, and then going through these interview processes and the video interview process, which is just bizarre.
Awful. Yes. Another component that's not great.
Exactly.
But I
understand they're trying to save time and to kind of weed out the people who may not be good candidates, but even still, it's very impersonable. It really is.
Yes. Which is why I feel so strongly about, that component of coaching is, I have even put on my LinkedIn page, that one of the things I do is interview coaching, because you've got to be prepared for anything and everything that comes your way. And even if you are, bright, educated, capable, a perfect fit for the job, if you've not practiced, if you've not kind of said your answers out loud, put your success stories together, and you think you're going to wing it, I think it's not likely to go well. And I always feel strongly about saying not on my watch. I really want to help people achieve success. So where to find me is janisashkin.com. I'm excited to say.
Thank you. So what have been some of your success stories with the coaching for the careers and the health coaching kind of amalgamated together? Can you give us kind of like maybe a couple of scenarios or clients that you've had where, they've come out the other end and it's been a great success?
Yeah, so I have a wonderful story to share about a really delightful young man that I worked with a short time ago, who was doing a recruiting job and just really not in a good place, just not a good fit. The organization he was working with had very inconsistent values to him personally. And, I think that's another piece of it, is people don't realize that often it's not a fit. It doesn't mean you're incompetent. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's about knowing that. And so I worked with him. He had heard some things about career assessments, was very interested in taking the Myers-Briggs type indicator, the very famous, very well-known personality assessment that looks at fit not necessarily just a job, but it looks at what's the kind of environment that would be appropriate to your personality type. And I also gave him the strong interest inventory. And this is another one we use with the Myers-Briggs type indicator, but it's a little less well known. So anyway, I took him through the process over a number of sessions to help him learn more about himself. And he ended up working in a much more independent kind of situation, which was perfect for him because he is very entrepreneurial. And this is, so what happened is he was accepted into the training program, a very intensive training program for one of the prestigious real estate firms in town, in Buckhead, where, essentially every listing is going to be just at $1 million or certainly above $1 million, that was like listing 1 and listing 2 for him. Very exciting. And he showed up at my office one day with this enormous bouquet of flowers and said, "You changed my life." So, I started crying. I mean, it was just a beautiful story because, I think people begin to lose faith in themselves. They've been beat down often. And this is, that little known secret that people don't talk much about. But I think if you've been at a job or working with people and working at a company and none of that's working for you, you start losing all of your self-esteem, all of your confidence. And then if you're applying for what you might think is a lot of jobs, but not, in my opinion, you're going to feel discouraged because nobody's calling. No one's calling. You're not doing an interview. And if you're not even going on an interview, you're not likely to get a new job anytime soon.
Right.
So that was one of, just a really amazing story. And, I posted the pictures. I posted the bouquet of flowers on my website. Nice. I wanted to share them with everyone.
Nice. Well, that's great. And so, if you could tell everyone again what your website address is. So if anyone does want to kind of get in touch, because I know I've got a few friends who are kind of wanting to transition and they may need some help.
Absolutely.
And, for anyone else who is out there who is thinking of transitioning from their job because they're not happy, and you are so right about the values. If the job does not, kind of reflect your values or what the company is doing, then it's not you as a worker. It's just the fact that it's not the right fit.
Yeah, that's a hard one though. It really does take a long time to recognize that. Yeah. And, as someone I can tell you who had, frankly, a philosophical difference with an employer some years ago where I did resign, and I understand not everyone is in a position that they can do that, and I do find myself when people ask me if they should quit or can they quit, sometimes looking for my permission, I will say, of course, that's not my decision to make. But I think, there are times that it may be useful to stop the madness. It depends on a person's situation. Yes. Of course, good to have a backup plan. I did have a client asking me that just last week. Should I quit? Should I not quit? Is it better to not have a job or have a job when you interview? And I think it's always a personal decision.
Right.
I think you need to have money in the bank, and I think you need to have a plan B and perhaps a plan C. To jump into things is never good, no matter what part of the journey you're on. Right. So what information are you wanting me to share?
Sorry, I know you're like very involved in this subject just because it's a subject to my own heart and I've been there. Your website address. So if anyone wants to contact you, then they can contact you, but we should try and put it also at the bottom in the comments box as well.
Very nice. I thank you for that. So it's Janis, Janis, Ashkin, ASHKIN.com. Just simple as that.
Oh, awesome.
Yes.
Well, do you have any kind of like maybe last comment before we sign off, or piece of advice for anyone who might be on this journey?
I do indeed. So my suggestion is you must be patient.
Yes.
And really when people are not happy in a job, when they are ready to make a move, when they are so out of there, They want everything quickly, and I often will say to people, it's not that they're even hoping to get a new job tomorrow. They would wish that it would be yesterday. So I think it's about developing some patience, and perhaps a better way to say that is it's important to be in it for the long haul. So if you can just recognize that it's a journey, it's a process, and if you add to it that you're miserable, that you must make a change immediately, you're going to be getting in your own way. I mean, you've just really got to have, and sometimes this is where we use a plan B and a plan C. Right. So maybe it's not doing a dream job, but maybe it's doing something else to kind of get you through, or maybe it's figuring out how do we start weaving in our health and wellness? How do we start weaving in, because when people are miserable, they stop exercising, they stop eating right, they stop socializing with their friends, it just becomes this vicious cycle. And so I think, to get back to doing all sorts of habits of health, all sorts of healthy things, and then sometimes when you make a decision to go, that just lifts a spirit, it just takes such a weight off. And it doesn't, it doesn't even have to be a date. You don't even have to know, but if you make the decision to go. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting to people, okay, everyone, gather around and make a decision to leave your job tonight. That's not what I mean. I mean, if it's right for you. But when people do that, they then can just sort of get through each day with greater ease.
Yes, definitely. And I would also say, if you are getting to that point and need that time to go and think about, okay, this is going to be the time when I'm going to not quit my job, resign from my job, because we're not quitting, we're resigning. Right. Then again, that's where I can also come in. There are many wellness retreats and resorts that people can go and have that time, and again, make sure that they make the assessment about, okay, am I really neglecting myself with my, fitness, with my nutrition? And, there are those places that can help. And then, coming back and say, all right, I need my career coach. Let's make this happen. Let's put a plan together and let's get going. So, that's how we
Nothing
to work together.
Absolutely nothing better than taking the time to reflect, just physically removing yourself. And while, a month-long retreat would be awesome, it could also be days or a week, right? Where you just have the ability to kind of regroup.
Yes.
And then to hopefully return refreshed and renewed with stress management techniques, healthy eating, healthy movement, to just start taking care of yourself so that you would be prepared for a new career.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Janis, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. So much fun, Michelle.
This, as I said, this topic was, close to my heart, so I'm like, oh my god, I could talk about this for hours. But
exactly, I feel the same way.
I know people's attention spans is a little bit shorter, so we got to cut it down. But thank you so much for giving your advice and just information, that you are there, that there are career coaches out there. I was struggling to find one, as I said, but I'm glad that I've met you, and that if I do decide to change my career, that I can come
where to go. Right.
Know exactly.
Happy to help you.
Yes, exactly. So please, if you are interested in talking to Janis, do go to our website. We'll put it down in the comments as well once this is posted. But thank you so much, Janis. And if anyone is interested, do you have a newsletter as well? That you have a monthly newsletter or not?
I do not have a career counseling newsletter. It's probably plans for next year. But I do have a weekly health coaching newsletter.
Perfect. So if anyone wants to sign up for her newsletter, then please do contact her. And then if anyone wants to sign up for my newsletter, please do just go onto my website, and there'll be many boxes that you can click to kind of sign up for my newsletter. But Janis, thank you so much. And we will see you guys next week, probably be me with some tips on travel. So take care, everyone. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Michelle. Bye-bye.